How do you know if you have a rare currency bill? In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to make sure you're not missing any rare bills worth potentially thousands of dollars. Welcome back to Old Money Prices. If this is your first time here and you want to learn more about rare coins and paper money, start now by subscribing and clicking that bell so you don't miss anything. Let's jump right into the video. Up first, we have a $1 1988 Federal Reserve note web note from Atlanta, graded by PMG, a very fine 30. The big thing here is the fact that this is a web note. I'm going to show you a diagram right here of the difference between a web note and a regular note. The web note, what you want to look out for is the plate position and how it looks. You can see on a web note there is a number and it doesn't have any letters. Also, on the back of the bill, you can see to the right of the motto there is the plate position. It's in a different location. It looks different. If you have a $1 bill, look in these areas to see if you have a web note, because if you have a web note, it can be worth a lot of money. The fact that this one is from Atlanta, graded as a 30, if this note was to grade, say, an uncirculated 60 or higher, which means there's no folds on the bill, this bill would have sold for a lot more money than this. But even in the lower graded condition, this banknote still brought $1,140. Condition isn't everything. Here we have a $1 1963 a Federal Reserve note from Kansas City, and this is a solid number 2 serial number. Straightforward here, if your banknote has a solid serial number just like this, you could have something worth a lot of money, even if it's torn up and beat up just like this one, because this $1 bill sold for $384. Next, we have a 1988 a Federal Reserve star note that is also a web note. So same thing here, look out for the web notes. Also, this is a star note. That means it's a replacement note. So during the printing process, there was a sheet of notes that was messed up in one form or another, so they destroyed them and replaced them with these star notes. Star notes are more valuable than typical notes. If you want to see how much your particular star note is worth, there is a website called My Currency Collection. Go to that website and type in the serial number and you can see how much your banknote is worth. And also remember, the grade is very, very important here. This is a gem uncirculated 65 EPQ graded by PMG. That means that this note doesn't have a single fold anywhere on the bill, and also the centering looks very nice. The better the centering, the more money it's typically going to be worth in the high uncirculated grades. And this $1 bill sold for $2,160. Here we have a 1928 a Federal Reserve note graded by PCGS, a 64 PPQ. PPQ means premium paper quality. So 1928 is a better date for the $5 bill, and this one is the Atlanta district. You can tell by the prefix on the serial number and also the district seal on the left hand side of the bill. And because this 1928 $5 bill graded so highly, this note sold for $1,560. Coming up next is the 1928 a $10 Federal Reserve note from Richmond, Virginia. This one graded as a PMG 65 EPQ. Pretty straightforward here. Essentially the earlier dated small size notes just like this one. This is the same size bill that you have in your wallet or purse right now. You could come across something like this. Now, the chances of coming across an uncirculated note from 1928 is pretty challenging. It is pretty uncommon, but you could come across a rare currency collection from a friend or a family member, and you want to be looking out for the earlier dated 1928 $10 bills just like this one from Richmond, and this note sold for $1,800. Here we have a $20 bill from 2017. This is a Federal Reserve note from Kansas City, and it has a solid number 1 serial number, and PMG graded this as a 66 EPQ with the star designation. So these grading companies typically will not give a star designation like this unless the bill looks extremely nice for its grade. So that star designation alone increased the value of the note significantly. I can guarantee that. But one of the biggest things here is the fact that it is a solid serial number, and this is what collectors consider to be a fancy serial number. So any type of serial number, whether that's a low serial number, an ascending serial number, which means if the serial number says, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or if they're solid serial numbers just like this one, that's another type of fancy serial number. Or you can have a repeater. Say the serial number is 1 and 8. It'll repeat 1, 8, 1, 8, 1, 8. There's all different types of serial numbers that are fancy. On our website, we go over every single fancy serial number that's worth money, and this one right here is worth good money because this note sold for $2,640. Next, we have a 1928 a $20 bill Federal Reserve note from Dallas. Typically, Dallas is a tougher district to get banknotes it's from, and you can tell by the prefix of K and the district seal on the left. It'll say Dallas right over there. The big thing for this note is the fact, again, it's from 1928, and it was graded very highly by PMG at the 66 EPQ mark. Pretty straightforward. If you come across this note from 1928 and it looks good, it's in good condition, you know, the first thing you want to do is keep it somewhere safe. Do not fold it. Don't put it in your wallet. That sounds obvious, but a lot of people just don't know this type of information. These collectibles can be worth a lot of money, guys. So if you come across a currency collection, make sure you contact someone that you can trust, that's reputable. You do not want to get scammed for your old money, because this $20 bill sold for $1,080. Next, we have a 1934 $20 bill from the Federal Reserve of Minneapolis. This one was graded by PMG a 66 EPQ. That's extremely high of a grade. Remember, the highest grade we can get in grading is 70. That 70 grade is determined by strictly pretty much the centering of the note. There are some other factors like eye appeal that come into factor, but that 70 grade, if you were to get a 70 grade with this note, it would be worth significantly more money than this 66 EPQ, but 66 EPQ is still really high. The big thing on this is, one, it's from 1934, and two, it's a star note. Star notes are sought after. You know, collectors really like collecting star notes. They have a star on the bill. It's a cool thing to look after. Specific runs will have less notes printed for star notes than others. So runs that have small print runs that are also star notes can be worth a lot of money. Say there was only, 10,000 of these notes that were printed for replacements. That's a small number of notes, and that's going to increase the value significantly. But even if you have this note from 1934, it's a $20 bill, and it's in lower graded condition, it has folds, it's a little dirty, it can still be worth more than just $20, so keep that in mind. This note in 66 EPQ sold for $2,400. Up next, we have a $50 bill from 1934D, and this is a Federal Reserve note from Richmond. This graded as a PMG very fine 30, so that's a pretty low grade, but hey, if you come across a $50 bill, that could be worth $900, just like this one sold for in auction. Here we have a $100 bill from 1934. It is a 1934D Federal Reserve note for Atlanta. Now this note, a lot of the time when people show us their $100 bills, they are only going to be worth anywhere from about $100 to about $150 on average, which is still great. I mean, imagine coming across a $100 bill and being able to sell it for $150. That's $50 extra that are free, but this note is more challenging to find in the high grades of a 66, just like this one. So if you have a $100 bill that you came across in the collection and it is from 1934D, just like this one, and it doesn't have any folds, you could have something worth a lot of money, because this note sold for $1,440. Hit that subscribe button. It really does help out with YouTube algorithm. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next video.